Well, hello, this is Jayhawk Scott, and it has been a long time since I have done a video, and I think by the end of this video, I think you'll understand why. A couple months ago, probably 5 or 6 months ago, I said that there was going to be a big announcement coming soon on my aquarium, and today is that day. What we're looking at here is my aquarium in the morning, and you can see that my radions are in the process of doing the sunrise. But this will be the last sunrise that happens on this tank. That's right, after all the work I've done trying to put this thing back up and get it going, I'm going to tear it down today. And I will not be putting water back in this aquarium again. No, I'm not going to get out of the hobby, but my wife and I have been working the last year or so on developing plans for a new home. And part of those plans involve me getting a new aquarium. So out goes the 135, and the new one will actually be about 300 gallons. It's right at 300 gallons. I'm not sure if it's a little over, a little under. It's definitely bigger than this one. This tank is 6 feet long. The new tank will be 7 feet long, so it's only another foot longer. But the bigger difference comes, and this one's 24 inches tall. The next one's going to be 28, so a little taller. But the biggest difference is the front to back. This aquarium's 18 inches front to back, and the new one will be 30 inches. So it's significantly deeper, and that's where I get most of my increased volume, is in the depth of the tank. So what does that mean? That means that everything you see in front of you, the fish, all that stuff, goes away. I have made arrangements with a friend of mine who lives just down the street. He's got a 120 gallon aquarium that he's going to keep all of my fish and all of my corals and all that stuff, but it's going to be a long time before the new tank is up and running. It will probably be better part of a year and a half at least, maybe 2 years. We haven't even broken ground on the new home, but we are moving out of this existing home into a rental home next door that we own, in order to be able to sell this home. With 2 little girls and constant messes, it's just going to be really hard to try to sell a home while we live in it. So we are moving next door. So this tank has got to come down. So I'm going to start that process today. I don't know how far I will get. Some of the things that I do plan to try to do is I do plan to try and save my live rock. I'm not going to keep it live. I'm just going to kill it again. It's going to be so long before the next tank's up and running. Trying to keep it alive is just too difficult. So it's just easier for me to kill it off. So I'm going to put it back in a big tub and bleach it and kill it. And then I've got the sand, and I've been doing a lot of research on keeping sand, because between the tank and the refugium I've got a lot of sand. And it's not, a lot of people are just like, just buy new sand, it's cheap. Well, me, sand's going to cost a couple $100 to put into this new tank, and I actually had more sand in this tank than I really needed and really wanted. My sand bed's deeper than I was hoping for in the end, so I think what I've got in sand will probably be about right for the new tank. I may need a little bit more, but if I need a little more, I'll buy a little bit at that time. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you how to store and keep sand. This will be my first time at it. I've done a lot of research on it, so that ought to be an interesting process. But that's the big announcement. So I'll try and take a bunch of videos as I tear the tank down. I'll probably do some more equipment reviews of some of the equipment that I've got, and and what I thought of it while I used it. And then I do plan to do a big series on the new aquarium build. Now, one of the things that's going to be different is that in the new aquarium build, I'm going to have a fish tank room, and the new tank is going to be built into the wall, and then the room will be, and the fish tank will actually sit in the fish room. Now, the fish room's not the biggest fish room that you've ever seen. It's going to be actually pretty tight, but I'm just thankful that it was my wife's idea actually to give me a fish room and to do a new tank. So I'll be excited to see how that comes together, and I am really kind of looking for this new series to be kind of an interactive series with some of my viewers, and I'm looking for suggestions for those who have done fish rooms and how to best go about designing that fish room. I plan to put, obviously the aquarium, and I'm going to use my existing sump. Now, I'm probably going to reconfigure it a little bit to make it work a little better. There are some things that I want to do differently with it, so I'll probably reconfigure my sump a little bit. So I'll talk about that more as I go. I do plan to put a new water change station in the new fish room. I'm going to get bigger tanks, bigger water tanks than I currently have for my current water change system. They're 55-gallon drums, so I'd like to get 75, however big, however big I can make them is when I'm going to make them, because the bigger the better. It just makes life easier. So there's going to be a whole lot of stuff coming out, but it's going to be over the next year and a half or so that I do this. If you happen to live in the Houston area and you're wanting to buy a fish tank, I've got a pretty good one. I do need to do a few things to the tank, but it's an older tank, but as you've seen in my videos, I did all the resealing of it and put new corner overflow boxes in it, and I haven't had any problems with it at all. So if you're interested in a tank, let me know. I do also plan to sell my Tunsies. I've enjoyed my Tunsies, but I'll get into those more. But if you're interested in a pair of 6105s, let me know. I'm also probably going to sell my Blue Line pump, my main return pump. That's going to go away, and I'll start talking more and more about the new configuration when the time comes. I also have a couple chillers that I'm going to be looking to probably sell. Since the new setup is going to have a fish tank room with all of my water change in that room, and my sump in that room, and my quarantine in that room, and not in the garage, where the garage it currently isn't climate controlled. And so, like right now, it's the middle of the winter, and we're actually having a cold stretch here in Texas, and we've been down around the freezing mark, so that garage is pretty cold. So I've got to really account for that with more heaters, and then in the summer I've got to have a lot of chillers. So I'm not going to need as much of that stuff going forward. I'm going to probably be building a new light rack for the new system. I need another Radion for the new tank, at least one, maybe two. I'm going to start with one. So there's going to be a lot going on over the next couple of years. I'll try and take as many videos as I can, so as to keep everybody updated as to what's going on. But again, if anybody has suggestions on a fish room, I would be really curious to hear what people have to say. Some of the things I've thought of is to try to create some kind of a water barrier on the floor, so that if I do have water leaks, that it doesn't ruin the floor. Putting a floor drain in. I plan to put a lot of electrical in the room. I'm thinking I'm probably going to run 3 20-amp circuits. Plan to do a little sink in the room. The room's not very big. The distance from the back of the tank to the far wall it's like 2.5, 3. I think it's like 3 feet. So I'll show some plans of the fish room here when I start getting into that. But this video really is just to announce my big plans on tearing the tank down and the new tank build. So I appreciate everybody sticking with me, and I hope that you'll find this next series of videos on the new tank and the deconstruction of this one and the setup of the new tank useful. I think it ought to be really interesting to document it and see how it goes, and I'll be able to look back on it when I get it done. So again, I appreciate all my new subscribers. I'm up around 275 subscribers. That's awesome. I'm closing in on 250,000 page views. Hard to believe, but true. So again, thank you so much for sticking with me, and hopefully I'll be able to get out a lot more videos coming up here pretty soon involving the teardown and then the planning of the new tank. So if you've got any questions or comments, please just put them in the comment section down below the video, and I will be sure to get back with you as soon as I can. So, but for now, this is Jay Hawkscott signing out.